Newsom, and today I'm going to tell you about my first deployment I ever went on with the United States Air Force. Now, I joined this unit in the engineering squadron. I was the engineer's assistant in 2012, and I finished school in 2013, and just when I got back, they asked me if I wanted to go to Australia. So this was, I think it's supposed to be like under a month trip, and we'd be staying in Learmonth, Western Australia, and working to build up a new Navy base. And so I'm going to tell you I guess it was not a, per se, a very normal trip. And we have the saying that goes, there's no such thing as a perfect trip, but in this sense, everything went wrong. Anything that we could think went wrong. But we ended up having a good time, even though with the difficulties we faced. And so we started off on our way from Hawaii, or on our way to Hawaii. On the first way through, we went Hawaii, Guam, and then finished in Australia. So Hawaii was a pretty normal, the first go around. It was pretty normal. We stayed there overnight, and we just ate sushi and just had a good time. And then we went to Guam, and Guam was a whole different story, because Guam is a real big party area, and that's all there is to do there. So we had a very good time, found the bars and the clubs, and barely made it back to the plane in time. And after that, we went from Guam to Australia, which is where we started working. And the work we did, we were rebuilding an old military base, naval base, and getting it ready to something about a radar to talk to the submarines, which is pretty neat. But we were just mainly in the reconstruction phase and getting the building ready to do that, running wire and stuff like that. And I was in charge of the design of putting the blueprints together to make sure everything worked. But whenever we were there, it wasn't all work. We did have the nights off, so we did a lot of things. I went snorkeling with sharks, which was awesome. I was very scared, but it ended up being a fun thing to do and awesome experience. They had this thing there. Instead of having a gas station with alcohol, you'd have what they call a bottle shop. So we had obviously had a lot of fun with that, going on the beaches and having fun and just relaxing on our weekends and our days off. And after all that happened, we're waiting to go back to Guam, or on our way back home, and the plane breaks down. And they didn't really know what was wrong with it, but we knew we were going to be there a little longer, so we had to stay in Australia for a while, for a couple more days, waiting for the plane to get fixed. They didn't really know what was wrong with it. And so after they got that done, we went to Darwin, Australia, which is a bigger city, and we were in Learmonth, which was very small, and just beaches and stuff like that. And we spent about 3 days there. And after there, we went to Hawaii. And when we were in Hawaii, the plane that was headed to get us, because they kind of factor out planes, it was coming from, I think, New York, and a bird hit the windshield on the way to get us, and so they had to turn around and wait for a windshield. And that took about 4 to 5 days. And then whenever the plane does come and it gets in the air and we're over the ocean, it won't pressurize, and we have people's eardrums popping, and people are getting sick, and they had to drop 30,000 gallons of fuel in the ocean. And whenever that got done, they realized that the only place they could get the part was in Japan. So we spent about a week in Hawaii with nothing to do, just relaxing. So we went to Pearl Harbor, the Stairway to Heaven, we mopeded around the islands, went to the Jurassic Park set, relaxed on the beach, and we had to tell our bosses that we were stranded in Hawaii, which I had a boss that I had never met before, that had switched whenever I was overseas. So we had to get a rescue flight back to Mississippi. And that was my amazing experience that I thought I would never get out of, being stranded in the beautiful island of Honolulu, Hawaii, that no one feels sorry for me about. Thank you.